Just as a disclaimer, we want you to know that some of the movies that we will be reviewing were shot in a different time and era where people of race and sex were not treated equally. We understand this and hope you do too. The movies or anything that happened on the sets are not the views of this podcast or what this show is intended to be all about.
Exactly. And we want to give due diligence in presenting the movie and not the views of the cast or directors or anyone involved. But we also feel it's necessary to let the audience know some of the background information to get a feel for what was happening at the time of shooting the film. Again, we hope you understand that we do not agree with everything that went on, and we just want to give out the information. And with that being said, hope you enjoy the show.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast, and this is one of our famous Real Talks episodes.
All right.
We haven't done one of these in a long time, so
Too long. Gotta do it
this is where we don't really talk about anything particular. We write down a few topics that we would like to talk about, and then we just bounce off of each other back and forth. So we'll go ahead and start this off. So Kyle,
kind of anything in the realm of film and TV, really. You know?
Right. So Kyle, tell me some of the movies that you've recently watched, and what was your thoughts on them?
The most recent watch I watched in theaters was actually I saw the Uncharted film with my friend, one of my friends, and it was overall a pretty solid adaptation of the video game stories, and also does his little own thing. Also, it's nice to see Tom Holland play another leading role, I think,
and Matt Damon's in too, right?
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because this film has been in just like kind of development limbo for so long that Mark Wahlberg was originally cast to play Nathan Drake, and the movie took so long that he aged into playing Sully.
Yeah, I don't. To me, I don't know if Tom Holland is actually just from. I haven't watched it yet, but just from seeing it, I think he's almost too young.
He looks very young too. He has a very young look to him, even though he's actually like 26. He's not actually that young,
right? But I mean, if you play the video games, Nathan Drake looks more like
early 30s, maybe early. Yeah. So it's one of those things. Like, but at the same time, you have Tom Holland, and like he's a good actor now. At the same time, it's kind of funny to me, like, he was cast in this movie before they knew he could lead a movie, so it's almost like they have Mark Wahlberg as, like, the aged actor to be, like, a co-star to kind of cover him up, but it's like, no, Tom Holland was actually the star of the biggest movie of last year as the main star, clearly can carry a movie all by himself, so it's kind of funny seeing Mark Wahlberg having, like, almost, like, pretending to pick up the slack that Tom Holland clearly is not leaving. So it's kind of a fun thing to see on there as, like, a film nod kind of moment, but there's a lot of moments where, like, it's clearly kind of it's capturing a lot of the nuances, like I feel like from like the National Treasure movies, and not like Indiana Jones what I expected. I expected to be more of a ripoff of Indiana Jones or even like some Michael Bay films, but really National Treasure was the vibe I kind of got off, almost like a kid's first National Treasure that was really good.
So would you recommend it for people of any movie going age experience,
yes.
Genres?
Yes, totally fine with that. Yeah, it is a movie butt movie. It is it's a good old popcorn flick, and yeah, it kind of captures that National Treasure vibes of being relatively kid friendly, and not like, you know, like, oh yeah, they're thieves, they're not bad thieves, those kind of stuff. So it's a really kind of fun little romp. And also, if you have zero kind of knowledge of the games, I think the movie totally stands on its own. You don't need to know about the games. In fact, I feel like a lot of the stuff, like, They got ahead of like a lot of the story beats, because like some stuff they introduced in Uncharted 2 and 3 and 4 were of course not placed. They didn't place those seasons in Uncharted 1. So having this first movie that has all the backlogs, like Nathan Drake having a brother and other aspects having the film, getting ahead of those things makes the story set up to go in more cool places later and actually be a more solid overall arching story, because they're going to do sequels to this. This is already a franchise in Sony's mind, so you have a new series to kind of start with your family if you wanted to. So overall, it was a fun movie. I definitely recommend if you have a chance to watch it in theaters. If not, I'm sure it'll come to digital soon enough and you can give it a watch sometime then, and it's a solid watch. So really enjoyed it. Jimbo, how about you? What kind of movies have you been seeing in the theater recently?
The last one I went to the theater to see was I took my kids. We went to go see the new The Batman,
The Batman.
or as like people like to call it, Battison.
No.
So, for those of you if you've been living under a rock, the new Batman movie does feature Robert Pattinson, who played in the famous
Edward in Twilight series.
In
Yes.
Twilight. I'm happy to report that Batman does not sparkle in this movie.
Darn it. That's my hope.
So, my thoughts on the Batman. I am a huge DC fan. I like DC more than I do Marvel in comic books and cartoons and TV series. And I know a lot of people like Marvel. My top 2 favorite superheroes, number 1 will always be Superman. Number 2 will always be Batman because I think he has the coolest villains. This Batman movie is different than anything that you have seen so far in the Batman universe. The Riddler, and by the way, there will be some spoilers I'll be talking about, so if you haven't seen this, you might want to just fast forward a few minutes. The Riddler is really... This is more of a detective movie with Batman thrown in every couple of scenes, and it's more like Commissioner Gordon before he's the commissioner, so Jim Gordon and Batman basically playing detective to try to figure out the Riddler's clues. You will see some similarities in this movie to Saw, with like the bomb wrapped around the neck while they're trying to do the riddle. And
Yeah,
it doesn't go right.
Trap making specifically in the. Yeah.
But every time, even after the Riddler gets caught, his plan was not done yet. I'm not going to say much more about that, so you guys can understand it. There is some Colin Farrell as the Penguin. If he doesn't get his own movie after this with the Batman, I think it'd be a mistake because he stole the show. I think
probably missed opportunity.
Catwoman, she done very well. Zoe Kravitz, she did very well.
Daughter of Lenny Kravitz.
Batman, Pattinson, he was better than I thought. I'm not sure if I liked his Bruce Wayne. Andy Serkis as Alfred was outstanding once again, and this movie also takes a turn, a deep twist, whatever, if you will, to who killed Batman's parents and how it was a cover-up. Falcone and all of them are in it. So anybody that's watched any of the Batman shows know, Carmine Falcone's a big
name in the organized crime in the Batman series.
So it is a darker movie. When I say darker, I don't mean dark like The Dark Knight. Joker was probably the darkest,
most adult and serious tone.
Psychopath that you can get to. And it's not as dark as even Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. This is more of a detective thing. Does the Riddler do some crazy traps? Yeah, he does some crazy traps. Does he kill some people? Yeah, he kills some people. But to me, it was more of I didn't really feel like I was watching a Batman movie when I was watching it. I was more watching a detective show. And like the Batmobile that they use, you don't really, even my kid said, you don't even really get a clear shot of the Batmobile because it's only used like once, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's dark, and my daughter's like, it seems like it changed every single time it was in the shot, that you never got really. And then they have the Bat motorcycle in it, which is, it's just a motorcycle with the bat hood on it or whatever.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
But it was an interesting take. I would definitely say go see it, check it out, especially if you're a fan of comics.
Especially, this is like a year 2 Batman kind of story, right? Like this is kind of like in terms of like Batman's career overall. This is like a year 2 for him.
It's like he's been
established, but not quite yet.
Well, like at the beginning of the movie, like the criminals are out there, robbing people in stores and on mugging people, and they see the bat light go up. Like one guy spray painting some graffiti on like the side of City Hall or something, and he looks up the bat light, he drops the thing, and it rolls into this darkness, and he gets scared. Another one, I think they're in the subway, and they hear a noise, and they hear steps coming down, and that one actually is Batman. And there's a guy that robs a bank, like a grocery store, Mart, and he comes out, and he drops something, he looks up, and he backs up, and the car hits him, taxi hits him, you know what I mean? So it's pretty much well established that Batman is fighting crime, and they never know where he's coming from. So every little darkness, they are scared to
Batman
death.
has struck fear in all the criminals of Gotham right now. That's a pretty cool way to start the kind of story.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
What I heard is like a general like both a like like something to know walking into the film, and maybe as a partial criticism is that this felt like a limited time series that they compress into a 3-hour long movie.
Right. Like I was telling one of my friends, I said, to me it felt more like a 3-hour Gotham episode. On a TV show, instead of a movie, and I don't know if it's just because of like the Riddler. He's wearing like this gas mask type duct tape
apparatus. When I saw it, to me, he looked like a default goon in like one of the Batman Arkham games,
which
like
they are in there. They will show up later in the film. So
but
there's a lot of video game references.
He looked like one of those goons. Like when Batman shows up, he goes, "It's the bats," and tries to punch him. That's what he looked like to me. It was a very generic look to me. I didn't like it at all. I personally haven't seen the film myself yet either, so I don't know. If
there is some good cinematography, like the scene where the elevator opens up and Batman comes out and all the lights are out and they're shooting their guns and he's going down there and he's just beating them. It goes black again, and then they're shooting again, and he's just making his way down through there. So there is some great cinematography shots.
And I love the overall aesthetic. They seem to be kind of getting a little bit more of that Tim Burton vibe into it. Of almost looked like it's a very, very large and almost like mythological dying empire kind of city to it, look to it. I kind of saw from the trailers that I'm excited to see personally.
So yeah, I would say go see it. I'll probably end up buying it when it comes out on
Even the worst Batman is still some pretty good Batman.
It's sometimes. Batman, man. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you already know if you're going to see it. You've probably already seen it by now.
Right, Kyle, we got your next.
Not other movies in the theater. We'll see about this in a podcast we'll probably record next week, but the only movie I watched recently on Vudu, streaming digitally, I watched Fire in the Sky, which is based off the real-life accounting of a person who claimed to be abducted by aliens, and they later made a dramatized film about him being abducted by aliens, and I believe it took place in, Log Country. I can't remember the actual name of it myself. I gotta look it up right now. Got to pull it up because I prepared for this really classically. Going forward right here. Yes, a UFO invasion and Lager. It takes place of Travis Walton, who claims to be abducted by aliens. And that film has a legendary kind of like 12 to 15 minute almost short film that has this like really horrific alien abduction scene where basically he's being tortured and experimented on. And it's just a PG-13 movie, but it's actually like psychologically very traumatic. I wouldn't just a kid ever watch it, or even like a 13-year-old could probably be traumatized by it. But we're recording the Close Encounters of the Third Kind next week, and it was kind of seeing a sharp contrast where Steven Spielberg with like movies like E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, he had a very like idealistic view of the unknown and discovering aliens and then making peace with us and all kind of stuff, where this movie Fire in the Sky goes the exact opposite direction, where like these aliens are almost seen as like almost horrifically demonic in their own ways of treating humans with like complete disregard for their pain or free will or anything like that, just treating them like cattle to be experimented on and used as torture devices. So that was an interesting film to watch, and a really, really good film to kind of watch too. Stars D.B. Sweeney as Travis Walton and Robert Patrick as Mike Rogers. And Robert Patrick, actually, this was the role that he played so well, and since it was a sci-fi movie, this is the reason he later got casted into the X-Files TV show, which is really cool too. And of course, Robert Patrick, famous for T-1000 and the movie, so pretty cool movie itself. Did you watch any of the movies yourself outside of the cinema?
Yep. I watched the new Scream.
The new Scream. How was it?
I liked it for the simple fact that it kind of makes fun of itself and the whole franchise. It's like they broke the fourth wall at times. Mm-hmm. So instead of a sequel, they call it a requel or something like that, where they bring back
not quite a reboot, not quite a sequel. It's a requel.
They bring back all the old characters, and then they're actually playing. We bring back the leading character, blah blah blah, and all this. So. Definitely, if you're going to watch it, make sure you've watched the other 4 or whatever it is, now 4 or 5, I can't remember, I think 4, before you watch it, because there is some tiebacks into some of the other movies by some of the characters, who they're related to, and all that. It does bring back Dewey and Gail Weathers and Sidney Prescott. Cool. So they all bring back their roles, and I'm not going to tell you, but one of them does not make it out of the movie, and it was kind of heartbreaking, so I'll leave it at that. But make sure you check that out. I thought it was pretty good.
He doesn't make it.
If you have to guess, give me your guess.
No, I'm going to say probably Sweeney, probably. The police officer. Dewey. Yeah, that's it. Dewey Sweeney. Whatever. Dewey. I believe.
I'm not going to say anything because somebody wants to lie.
I'm right though.
There's also a movie that I wanted to see because of what it's based on. and I don't ever remember seeing it hit theaters, and I wanted to see it, and it is Cyrano.
Oh yeah.
Me and Kyle was sitting here talking about earlier. Cyrano de Bergerac was something that I had to read in literature class, man. 10th grade, probably, sophomore year. It's about a guy that falls in love with a girl, but he's got a nose like Pinocchio, real long. And he's a really good poet. What do you call him?
A poet
Author
and
of poetry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but in the book, he finds this really masculine guy, good looking guy to deliver this stuff to or whatever. So it was actually him behind the thing. But they took a different spin on this, and they actually have Peter Dinklage, which is well known for his role as Lannister in
Tyrion Lannister.
yeah,
Yes.
in Game of Thrones, where they've changed the.
Long nose, of course, him being self-conscious about his height.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to watch this movie and see the way they went about it. But I wish they would have advertised this a lot more because it was something that I wanted to see.
Yeah, it was a complete missed opportunity on the production company's fault, or whoever. Like I don't know the distributor, but like you have the most popular actor from the Game of Thrones series, basically, and then you have him like playing one of the most well-known plays in the world, doing a film that apparently, from all I've had seen of any kind of critical reception, has been nothing but like absolutely great, and they put it just in the middle of like January to basically like just go out and die. And during a real kind of lull in the theater kind of landscape right now, it's like you could have pushed that film and actually made something really iconic out of it. And instead they just kind of let it die out with a whimper, which is absolute tragedy because, like, hey, you know what? Peter Dinklage is an amazing actor. He deserves to be in more movies. At the same time, too, this seems like a great film. They should have pushed it further. And it's absolute, it's completely dumbfounded to me that they didn't push this movie harder and actually get it out there. Now it's going to have to be like a critical darling with like a cult following for the next decade or so. But it's really unfortunate because like they had everything set up to do this right, and they made a great film, but they didn't show it to the world the way they should have.
Right.
So that's unfortunate.
So
I can't wait to see myself. We're definitely going to check it out.
On the Vudu right now. I think you can rent it. I'm waiting for it to go on.
Buy now,
now, and then I will buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna go straight to buy. We're not gonna bother with the rental stuff. Yeah, we want to own this movie. That's for sure.
So Kyle, let's talk a little bit about Disney Plus.
Or Star Wars specifically.
Right. We got the Obi-Wan show getting ready to come out here in a couple months. They're starting to release images, and I think the trailers due this week. What are your expectation or high hopes for Obi-Wan?
So, yeah, I know we've had a little bit of disagreement on that before, and like we have different expectations for the show. For me, like I would have wanted like an Obi-Wan show to basically just like I would have preferred like an Obi-Wan movie altogether, and just be like Obi-Wan somehow discovering that Darth Maul was alive, and then going on the hunt to go get Darth Maul and finally settle that score once and for all. And that's exactly the only story I really care about for Obi-Wan between the end of the prequels to the beginning of the original trilogy. That's the only story I was really interested in. It appears they're going a free different way, where it's going to be about Obi-Wan and Darth Vader specifically having a story between there, and I don't know how that will go, and I don't know what to expect, but I am excited for the series overall. Jimbo, what are your kind of thoughts and feelings?
I mean, we know that Obi-Wan and Darth Vader will have another duel.
Altercation, yeah.
Yep. They say they do fight with lightsabers again, so I'm really interested in seeing that, because we know, and which will really be interesting if it ties to Episode 4, A New Hope, where Darth Vader, remember when he meets Obi-Wan on the Death Star, and he's like,
my powers have grown since we last had battle.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very interesting if they tried to tie into that. And, he's like, and Darth Vader's also like, I felt a presence I haven't felt since, and, he trolls it off. So I'm hoping that they can tie that into A New Hope somehow and make it more appeasing to the long-time fans.
Gosh, I don't know how they necessarily do it, but I wonder if they're actually at the point, like, since they already done, like, scenes of a digital de-aged Luke Skywalker and, of course, Mark Hamill, I wonder if they're going to try and do anything to talk about Obi-Wan maybe watching a young Luke Skywalker growing up on Tatooine and maybe seeing, like, the lifetimes of his childhood, possibly.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point, because it's already going in different directions I thought. I wouldn't had, I personally wouldn't have had Obi-Wan engage with Darth Vader until we got to episode 4. And to me, the prequels are like it's prequels and New Hope. So that's when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader interact. That's it. That's where that it's just a gulf of time between them before they interact ever again. But they're clearly going to have a direct interaction in this show. So I wonder if they also have more direct interactions with a young Luke Skywalker.
Well, it's going to also be interesting is if they are going to fight again.
So I'm just imagining what if they had like him like the same way the original young Anakin actor played. I'm gonna be a pod racer. Just really
Jedi. No, but I mean like it'll be interesting because when Obi-Wan in The New Hope first meets Luke Skywalker, he's been on Tatooine all this whole time looking after him. Does that mean Darth Vader comes back to Tatooine to fight him, or is it going to take somewhere else to fight? You know, I mean, it's going to be interesting because I don't think Obi-Wan will jeopardize his location and Luke Skywalker's location by fighting on Tatooine. I don't think that'll be possible. Unless they send a bounty hunter after him.
Yeah, then you have... Well, no, because granted, it's not... Yeah, because then you have to go in the factors of the timeline itself. It's like, okay, so you wouldn't have like Mando or the actor of Boba Fett turn up in there. You wouldn't have them like do a guest appearance. Maybe Fennec Shand can make an appearance. I don't know. That could be an interesting thing to see. But still, it's like, yeah, you can't imagine like Darth Vader would let Obi-Wan just lay low on Tatooine if he knew he was there.
Right.
So surely that means Obi-Wan will have to go off world and then have altercation with Darth Vader because like no, you don't want him to reveal that like, oh, I know Darth Vader is like, I wonder why Obi-Wan is going to the planet that I grew up on.
Right.
I never looked into that sun I've been missing for my entire life.
Right. So speaking of bounty hunters,
oh yes,
the Book of Boba Fett has been released now for a while
and concluded. Yeah.
Are you all caught up on it?
Yeah, I'm all caught up. I was all. Yeah.
And what did you think of that?
I left it overall a bit disappointed. Unfortunately, I feel like there was a whole lot of they put in a whole lot of guest stars and stuff like that to kind of like try and boost up a little bit of excitement of like, here's cameos and guest characters from other series to make it exciting for you. But instead the show just kind of like felt like nothing really happened, or that Boba Fett himself wasn't really an interesting character. Like he just kind of like, he survived the Sarlacc pit and he got he was with the village of those one aliens. I forget the name of them.
Aliens, the Sand People.
The Sand People, and like he's like, and now he's a redeemed person who only wants to be a criminal empire, but a really good one, a really nice one. And it's like, it didn't have an interesting nuance to me where I didn't feel like Boba Fett played the character I knew from the Star Wars films, where like him being a cold, ruthless bounty hunter, or even then in the expanded mythology about him being just a ruthless bounty hunter for about getting his pay, and that's basically all he cares about. Like I understand for a Disney Plus show, you want to play them as somewhat of a redeemable and likable character, but I just feel like he went too far, where he was just kind of like just a boring, nice guy in not really an interesting way, and also there wasn't really enough action scenes where I felt really got for him. So overall, I kind of felt like the show went kind of nowhere for me. How'd you feel about it overall?
Well, what I didn't like is basically, was it episode 5 was just all about the Mandalorian,
and then the next episode also was mostly about Mandalorian,
Luke and Baby Yoda and Grogu and all that, and I was like, they should have saved that for the Mandalorian. And gave me some more meat of the bones of Boba Fett, because Boba Fett turned into a wimp. I understand that he's the crime boss and that he's taking over Jabba's thing, so he has to kind of keep everybody in line. But, like when that one guy was like...
But there's a really cool action way to do that, though. There's also a lot of ruthless ways to do that they could have done in the show, and they just did none of it.
Right.
It was just a whole lot of him being basically surrounded and ambushed, and then him being like, I survived that encounter. I guess I'm still the crime lord. Like, what? I'm sorry, you were talking.
It was really cool to see, what was his name? Chrysanthi, the black Wookiee.
Yeah.
Oh, man, he is tough.
Gosh, I haven't.
I want to say Chrysanthemum or something like that.
Yeah, I know I know he was introduced in a comic book series, and when the original writer was writing his name, he actually wrote down as Nubaka as a placeholder for a long time. Nubaka, not Chewbacca. It's Nubaka. He's Chewbacca but black.
I did think it was cool seeing Boba Fett ride the Rancor. That's straight out of a comic book.
That was incredible to watch. I agree with that entirely. Yes.
And some of the CGI they did there was really great. And then when Baby Yoda gets out there as Grogu, and he just puts the Rancor to sleep, he's just like,
I got this. I'm good.
Yeah.
Seeing Baby Yoda or Grogu save the day,
and we did see that Grogu was put to a test to either choose Yoda's lightsaber or the thing that the Mando had made out of the Beskar armor, which the spear, which was a chainmail.
So that was interesting, and it's clear that he chose the chainmail, and they're clearly, I think, setting up Grogu to be like, I think they even said it in like episode 5 about the Mandalorian, about like there was a Mandalorian who made the Darksaber, and he was both Mandalorian and Jedi. So I think they're clearly setting up for Grogu to inherit that legacy and become both Mandalorian and Jedi in his own way.
Well, I think Mandalorian could do that too.
I think Mandalorian is going to set up a lot of the savior stuff of being the savior of Mandalore and doing that kind of stuff. But I think they want Grogu to kind of hold that banner in over time, and it could be a thing they do even like a decade later, even or something like that.
Yeah, I really enjoy that episode. I really enjoy the Mandalorian too. Book of Boba Fett was okay for what it was. Really excited for the Obi-Wan, and then I think Ahsoka's getting ready to get her own series out too.
Ahsoka, yeah, and I believe they confirmed that Mary Elizabeth Winstead is going to replace it was not Rodriguez, the actress who got canceled before they filmed it, and she's going to do
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune, yes. Yeah.
I thought she signed back on with them.
I believe they confirmed that Mary Elizabeth Winstead is actually going to take over her role, basically, and not actually specifically. It'd probably be a whole new character, but she's going to have her whole Republic show, basically, her whole New Republic as that's kind of going to be a thing. So I think they confirmed that just last week. I'm going to look it up just because I'm not just completely off hail here, but still, I heard they were going to do that about her own show. And I'm excited about that. Let me see about Mary Winstead news.
Kyle, have you watched any TV shows lately?
I got into watching Monk for the first time ever, and I'm really enjoying that a whole bunch. So overall, I think it's a pretty excellent show. I believe it's like early 2000s to late 2000s, and really enjoying that. Are you watching any cool TV shows yourself, Jimbo?
Well, I wouldn't say cool, but when I was young, the TV show MASH would come on. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was an automatically change the station, boring. So I've decided to try to sit through a couple episodes to see what I think about it. I think I'm on episode 2 right now. So we're going to give her a shot. We're going to see where it takes me. If I like it, I'll stay on. If not, I tried. I know a lot of people like MASH, so but you can never go wrong with The Office.
You can't go wrong with The Office. And watching MASH would be kind of interesting to watch now. I feel like it's kind of in those that subsect of shows now that in a streaming world they're hard to watch because you don't have a week to kind of like defuse and like forget everything a little bit. You know, like if you watch one episode of one MASH to another, you see a lot of similarities or dealing with like similar levels of trauma, and then you go to the next episode, you have the exact same thing over again. It's like, okay, it kind of goes bad at that point. So streaming kind of can negatively affect those shows, but still a show worth watching, I think, MASH. Okay, so apparently I was wrong. Mary Elizabeth Winstead she is playing an unknown character right now in the Disney's Ashka series. So she's playing character, but I believe they were talking about her taking over for the new Republic series that we're also going to do of the Republic Rangers or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
That Gina Carano kind of fell through on. I don't think they recast her, but I don't know. Disney's always, specifically Star Wars is kind of in a rough spot right now. Not in a really bad spot, but kind of like a lot of plates are spinning and plans are going a little bit array. They don't have the same kind of like foundation set that I think the MCU has right now, where they just it feels like they can't fail and their plans always are kind of going on track. Star Wars always feels a lot real loose right now. Things are always going to one place or another. Like they don't have a new trilogy set up, or the shows are kind of going out of a way where they're being like unbalanced, kind of like performing wise. Like Boba Fett is kind of like performing a little bit lower, and like reviewers aren't really saying that much like it. Even fans are kind of a little bit more light with it right now. It's like it's not great, but it's not bad either. And same time too, like Mandalorian's skyrocketing, so it's just they're in a bit of a weird spot right now. I feel like
yeah.
Okay.
You got anything else, Kyle?
No, I think that about covers it overall. I'm excited for doing more Real Talks in the near future, actually. I think we should probably make that more regular, hopefully, if we can do that. And we're excited to do Close Encounters of the Third Kind next week.
Yep, Close Encounters, and it's a long one.
It's going to be a big movie, We have definitely set up the next few movies here are some real classics, gems, if you say, really set the cinematic landscape, to change the course of history forever in really cool ways. But unfortunately, that also means it's a lot of research to do for a podcast.
And we also have lost a lot of actors here recently, this year in 2022 so far. We had Bob Saget, Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Who was that other person I said, Kyle? I can't think of his name.
Gosh, it's unfortunate. We're kind of just hitting another. 2016 was a really rough
Charles
year.
Chris Huvain.
I believe we lost Sidney Poitier just before the end of the year, actually, and that was really sad to lose him. We just did a podcast about In the Heat of the Night about him, and that was a tough loss to see. I think he died just before the end of the year last year. Louis Anderson also passed away.
That's who I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of great
legendary actors who definitely who had incredible legendary performances that are passing away recently, and of course Betty White right before the end of the year as well. It's luckily a lot of these actors did have long fulfilling lives, and but still it's just a thing where every generation eventually there's gonna be a year where just an unusual amount number of them die. Yeah,
Peter Bogdanovich.
Yeah, of course, the filmmaker for Last Picture Show and Paper Moon. He's also a lot of Sopranos episodes, and I believe he may have directed a couple of those too.
Kim Mi-soo.
Howard Hessman. Howard Hessman from WKRP in Cincinnati. Love that show. I can't find anywhere else to get the seasons past season 1 anymore. We gotta look it up sometime. Sully Kellerman passed away from MASH. Hot Lips. Yeah, so unfortunately, it's going to be. I think we're in for another kind of long year for 2016 felt the same way, where we lost Carrie Fisher and David Bowie and a bunch of other incredible performers and actors during that time. I think we're actually looking at another year where we're unfortunately a lot of actors are kind of coming to a head of either in later years or we're still in the middle of a pandemic landscape, unfortunately. And everything's a little more dangerous right now. We're going through some tough times out here in the world, and we all care about everyone else with you here, and we're with you. But
right. So if we have any Ukrainians or Russian listeners, our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. You guys are in a very precarious situation, no matter which side you're on. And you got a lot of people thinking about you guys. So hopefully, if you're over there and listening to this, hopefully we can give you a few moments of joy, of happiness during this troubling time. So
yeah. And that expands worldwide too. I mean, this is the thing. This is not a, this affects everyone in the world,
right?
Even stuff right here in the Americas is getting very harshly affected, but not harshly affected, not more harshly than the Ukrainian, really, obviously, but still, a lot of things were okay, I got to plan my bills, got to plan my next few moves based off what the global world is doing,
right?
It's tough times.
With that being said, I think this Real Talk's coming to a close, or yes. Kyle will go down a longer rabbit hole.
Yes,
than normal,
we will. Yes, we will. But yes, thoughts and prayers with everyone. We love people, and we hope they get things sorted out in a good way. It's unfortunate, but yes, thank you.
Well, this episode's coming to close, and that's a wrap.
And cut.